catching up with you. You guys are so good, and I do appreciate all that your efforts of working with your health issues and your spirituality, and you will enjoy the ride, guaranteed. You know, this thing always has to be controlled and converted, and I almost say, you know, you have to re-brainwash yourself in certain ways. The mind works in thought patterns, kind of like a record, in all the grooves, and sometimes you have to change the thought patterns yourself, because a lot of people don't want to always change that. You know, music has always been used to break up thought forms and to create new ones. A good example, you can use heavy rock to break up thought patterns, or discordant music to break up thought patterns, but you must replace them with some more classical or light rock, or something that is a little more, it locks these thought patterns down. You know, they've used music, Hitler used music, Handel, and Noriega, we used heavy rock and big speakers around the church, and that's what we use, you know, in all levels. So you can use it to break up thought forms, and you can use it to solidify thought forms if you want to use it in that way. Pythagoras was hot on that. They used to say Pythagoras had the blue hand group, and because the blue star, you know, you've always heard about the blue light, the blue star. That's always considered the master, or but that blue is definitely the mental body of the master. The Hopi elders one time saw one of the Ekmasters as the blue light, and the Hopi elders said, "That's him." And they gave us like, I think it was like 50 acres in Sedona, Arizona, to build a healing center on. It was pretty cool back then. So let me get in here and answer some of your questions here, my friends. Let me see here. This is a testimony by Wendy, and this is about a month old. I apologize, Wendy. I just been snowed under here, but this poor lady was involved in gastroparesis, which is stomach paralysis, very common more and more today, and then colon paralysis as well. And you were talking, she's a 49-year-old female. She works full-time. She has a 9 history of gut paralysis from stomach to colon. She's done all kinds of enemas. She's went from a small amount of water to gallons. Very difficult. And she particularly had problem on raw foods. So in listening, she realized she could step down to some cooked vegetables to find a sense of balance. And when she did, she started moving her bowels, because she got control of her stomach issues here, which worked out real well. During this 13-month period, I worked with high fruit program, took the herbs, and also thyroid, adrenal, pituitary, and parathyroid glandulars. Stomach and bowel 5 wasn't even working for her. That's how bad she was there. But it's not a laxative, you know, it's right there. Sometimes I have to add somebody like Schultz's laxative or something when you get up there and can't move at all. So, you know, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. I prefer never use laxatives, but there's those cases, guys, and you're going to have them where you have someone who just doesn't move. They're locked, either with Crohn's or paralysis or something, and you've got to get them moving. So you're after the nervous system. You're after pulling on that wall. And what's interesting here, she realized she was dehydrated, and the astringent action of the detox has become too aggressive. So she did 2 things. She added 1/4 teaspoon of Celtic salt to the distilled water she was using to do enemas, and she backed down on the cooked veggies. I mean, she backed into the cooked veggies. Within 24 hours of going back to eating some cooked veggies, baked or steamed colored root veggies and squashes, I started having daily bowel movements. So the power of what she did, though, initially you could see the effect, even though she didn't recognize the effect right then. But when she stepped back, that aggressiveness had really worked for her. And she didn't realize that when she stepped back to the cook, then she started moving. But she needed that aggressiveness too, and she's working herself back up slowly to that area again, which is just what you want. So she's done so well. You guys have done really well, and I'm glad that we're able to this channel to deal with these situations like this. And understanding balance and that sort of thing, knowing when to hold them and fold them. This is some important things when you're working with your cells. And I applaud you, Wendy. You did really good for yourself. Really good thinking. That shows your spirituality. And you were out there, you go, oh, listen, let me overview this. Let me see. And that's what you're doing. You listen to your inner guidance. You're overviewing. I just talked to a beautiful soul in the UK, and she's on 50 some days now of melons, and melons are just really filling her up. And that's the poor soul that had the pain in the female area. She hadn't left her house in 6 years. She now just took a trip to Spain. Isn't that pretty cool? And so she was gone a month or so and stuff. So this is so rewarding. And the healing profession is so rewarding when you see another suffering soul and you're able to help that. There's nothing any more rewarding. So she's starting to move better. She's getting digestion back at this time. She's adding green smoothie. She's going slower, and she's adding stuff, and she's doing better and better and better, and that's just how you do it. Now, she was getting, and you had made mention, Wendy, you were getting some stool, rubbery, and adhering to the colon wall. You're definitely pulling off some plaque there. Even though that might have been your food, you're still dealing with that sticky mucoid plaque stuff, and even some lymph coming out through, mixing in with that food, the thickest stuff, that's the lymph there. And that can get real thick and sticky. So congratulations, a real good testimonial here. We've been having some great testimonies today, which was fantastic, you know. Takes a while to work yourself back to Wellville, but when you do, boy, it sure makes a huge difference. This girl here is amazing. This one captured my heart. This was a young girl. I can't remember how old. She's younger. You know, I'm thinking she's under 10, but I just can't remember her exact age. But she was having massive seizures. And so she is, this young girl is now 40% less seizures in September compared with August and previous months. 40%. This poor girl was going into constant seizures. And this was only 2 weeks. 2 weeks on the protocol. So I've seen this, though, and I tell you, that's why this works. You see it every time. People do have to work sometimes through their issues, but this is a beautiful statement here. I love this. My heart's been definitely out to this girl. Good job, Mom. Cheryl, good job. Keep working that program. Keep getting health to your kids. Keep regenerating your nervous systems on these children, their adrenal glands, and get these toxins out of them. These medical doctors are sticking in them. And get them healthy. Good job. Good job. This is Little Miss 40. Hello, Little Miss 40. Her father had COPD. We addressed that in a previous thing. Yeah, I understand why you did the N-acetyl crystalline. I do know why you did that. Now, this is on the COPD with her dad, the antispasmodic, definitely to keep him breathing. You don't, inhalers suppress cancer causing. That I'm just repeating what articles I saw in newspapers about this. So also lungs number 2 would be good. Either one, but lungs 2 is a little more of an expectorant in terms of breaking up hardened mucus. 3 lung tea, great for hardened mucus in the sinuses or the lungs. Just 3 herbs in there, 3 lung tea. Always kidneys, dear. Use kidney 1 capsules, kidney number 2 liquid. Go after your dad's kidneys, and you always go after his adrenal, any neurological problem. People don't realize that even though we're talking about lungs, the lungs are able to function because of what? The nervous system, and that nervous system is the autonomic, sympathetic, parasympathetic. Got to go after the adrenal glands. Have to go after the adrenal glands. And the GI tract, because your sympathetic and parasympathetic combine in the gut area. And that's where a lot of people have trouble, is the gut, the transverse bowel, the stomach. So good work. Good work on yourselves. And the gentleman is 86. And I don't expect him, sweetheart, to be 100% raw. I mean, you do your best, but at 86, I never expect that. And I honor these people, but how bad are you suffering? How bad do you want to get well? I've had them in their 90s here, 100% raw, kicking butt. So, I mean, I understand the 86, but at the same time, his consciousness, he's a Homo sapien, using a Homo sapien body, he can do it. 86, I've got him in the 90s doing it. I got a 96-year-old woman on total raw, so, you know, you can do it. And I put a 102-year-old man on 80% raw the other day. Because of the danger of kidney problems, absolutely. And you remember, most people die with kidney failure. Well, doesn't that make sense? Because now the kidneys, when you relate that and you look at that and you understand that's at the seat of the lymphatic system, then you know everything lymphatic is kidneys. Oh, so what isn't lymphatic? So kidneys and adrenals sit at the core. But when you eat high protein, some of you that have a little kidney weakness will definitely feel it. And you'll see what high protein does to you. If you have a lot of kidney pain and you're eating high proteins, come off of that and get totally away from proteins for about a week. Just eat your fruits and veggies, some steamed if you like, and then in a week put yourself on high protein again. Let me show you what you'll experience. And it's just proof. You just see it over and over and over again. She lives in the UK. Let's see. Also, her mother has wet MACD, macular degeneration. She's 85. But still, it's good to see. Well, this is where you got to get up upper circuit, brain and nerve. But what is causing the degeneration of the tissue in the eyes? What's breaking down the macula? What's causing this? Acids. Only two sides of chemistry, remember that, and there's only two major fluids that correspond or interact with the cells, blood and lymph, interstitial fluids. So that's where the problem is, of course. She might even have her tonsils out, which is almost a given, or the tonsils are not filtering well anymore, obviously. But these cases that lose tonsils are accelerating themselves to cataracts and macular D and wrinkled retinas and all the stuff they're coming out with now. But also brain tumors, brain lesions. I mean, keep on going down the line. Remember the cerebellum right here and all the equilibrium and vertigo problems people have. All of that's related to lymph stagnation in the brain. So you need to get up there. Now, we have an eye formula called Visioplex. And that one is not our formula. It's a Chinese formula, but they do have raw eye tissue in there. Probably would advise that one at this level with this lady. But we also have an eye wash topically and internally, which promotes blood and lymph flow in tissues. So that one would be good. But you want to get right where the problem is. Kidneys, adrenals, lymphatics, clean up the bowels. Same thing. Don't matter what age. Matter of fact, the older they are, the more of a cleaning they need. So she needs to get herself cleaned out. She has high blood pressure. Well, there you go. And she's had this since she was 37. So that shows she's had kidney problems in her 30s. Well, this is your mom. This is your mom. So little Miss 40, guess what? You got to take care of yourself and look at your dad. Your dad is adrenal and kidneys too. So you got two parents coming down on you. And I bet if you dig, you'll find your grandparents. So that's what's coming. It's just that we're focusing the light on the real problems here, where medical people keep that dark. And we need to put the light on truth. Truth is always essential. She uses medication, but let me tell you, get that lymph moving, and then she can regenerate and clean that up. She takes statins, meaning that her cholesterol's up. Well, why would your cholesterol be up? Would that go with kidney weakness? Absolutely. Now, why is that? Why, when you see kidney and adrenal weakness, would you see cholesterol problems? Twofold. One, backs up the lymph system and creates acidosis, their word inflammation. Okay, so obviously cholesterol is the body's main antacid. You see it in the fluids, in the lymph fluids. You see it in the cell wall, phospholipids. You see it in adrenal steroids. When the adrenals are down, your corticosteroids are down, you're going to see the additional use of cholesterol. Whenever you see weaker adrenals in someone, you start to see the cholesterol plaquing more. It just goes hand in hand with that whole process of acidosis, not removing cellular waste or acids, etc., etc., etc. Statins won't do anything but hurt her liver. well documented by medical doctors. I'm not the one saying this. Deepak Chopra said that. Dr. Weil said that. And I concur 2,000% with that. Just controlling blood serum cholesterol levels, meaning you're suppressing the liver's ability to make it. You never suppress the liver. Oh, God. And yet doesn't stop it from doing its job, meaning plaquing or being used as an antacid. That's why it's ineffective. You'll still stroke and heart attack. I mean, this is part of the illusion of that field, full of illusion. In my opinion, both these things have either brought or accelerated this condition. Absolutely. I saw your video on this, and it was causative factors, acid. Oh, yeah, you're right on, sweetheart. You got it. You got it. You got it. Got it. Got it. I'm interested in the hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That would be very good. There is some reports it can help MACD. Yeah, I mean, anytime you bring oxygen to an area, you're going to enhance the function of cells. You just have to remove what's damaging them. That's really key, essential to having a remedy here. In the treatment phase, absolutely, definitely bring the oxygen into the body. Clean your lungs out, meaning use lungs 2 or 3 lung tea. That'll loosen up any hard mucus in your mom. And cleaning her bowels out will also get a way to move. See how much that, okay. As for hydrogen peroxide, I was not thinking of ingesting it, but in the diluted form, spraying it onto the skin for absorption. Well, you could. There's some evidence of its use for COPD and macular edema. Thing is now, you got to be careful when you step it up a little bit into these areas, because this will burn too. So you have to be very careful. I just don't see it. I would rather see you use the fast track alkalizer, meaning sodium bicarbonate minus the aluminum, and maybe using some maple syrup or something in there, sweetheart, and going that way. Because in reality, we're thinking of treatment, which really, really works, because you haven't removed the acids, which I know you already know because you're talking about that. So good work, honey, and you keep going. And you guys are doing good. I can't tell you how proud I am of all of you guys. You're doing real, real well. This is an individual from Romania, and yes, there is some inconsistencies in the translation of the Romanian edition. There is, and one of them is just what you bring up here. This this individual, because I don't know, is Lulian, and he's a YouTuber here. And let me see here. This guy is very in tune psychically with his body and all this. Doing a fruitarian diet made me discover that my brain was full of substances that shouldn't be there. Absolutely. Most likely from their stupid... Yeah, he was on medications. He's been given serotonin pills, etc., etc., etc. And you're right on, man. You're really learning this and right on. But what I have in the book is about lemon juice and maple syrup, or lemon juice and honey, or lemon juice and agave. They had put peroxide in the Romanian edition, and that's not what I do. I don't do peroxides. I'm real cautious about burning tissue even more, and I think that's really, I mean, when you step up in all raw, you step up even there to all fruits, berries, and melons. You step on an herbal program this aggressive, hell, you're on the top of the mountain, man, and there's nothing you can add that's even better. You're up at the top of the friggin' mountain. And it's just, all I can say is, you're at the top of the mountain. And very few things you can add on top of that will take you deeper, because you're already at the top of the mountain. And it just takes a while to get that interstitial fluid. Remember, that flows around all the cells. It just takes a while to get that fluid moving, because it does get dehydrated. And acidosis creates dehydration, creates coagulation. And that's where you get that anionic environment. Can you give me a few other tips and advice on what to do in my case? What I am doing is keeping 100% raw. My issue is a neurological pattern instead of replacing the original one. Well, here's the thing. Now, he's getting into some of this thought patterns and things like this, and that's what I say. This is, in looking at this sort of consciousness that this individual is talking about, this is why it's important to get beyond the mind and get into more of consciousness, meaning that you're observing, you are using the awareness of life. You're using the awareness that you use to play with the mind and with the emotion. You're using the you, the real you, behind the mind, behind the emotions, behind the physical body, behind the eyes. You're using the real you when you're in the moment, because you now took your attention from focused thinking, focused desires, into drawing back, and you're in an observation mode. Being part of the all, you start experiencing more of the all. Real simple to understand that. It's real simple, just like it's real simple to understand the raw foods, and real simple to understand why fruits over vegetables when you take a look at the whole picture. And that's why we keep drawing the picture for you, so you can see more and more of the whole picture of creation and how it's put together, how the body's needs are, and how the body's put together. But make no mistake, there's a point where there's nowhere we can go any deeper, because the mind couldn't even begin to comprehend the intricacies of this thing, of creation. There's just no way. So with that said, if you want to change your thought patterns, you can use music to do that, or you can use discordant music to get rid of them, and good music to instill them. But I suggest putting yourself more in the now. Now, the herbs, keep in mind, this is why it's, for those that are really interested in this is why it's important to understand how I kind of showed you how the God worlds are put together, with the mind and the emotions and all this, understanding how you're put together. Just like a car, understanding how it's put together understands how you fix things or how things work. So understanding how creation is put together shouldn't be any different than asking, how did that chair put together? How did they put this phone together? Same thing, how did God put creation together? And I don't think it's difficult when you start observing how the mind and emotions, and these are components that you're using, that these spiritual beings like Jesus and Buddha and Mohammed, they learned not to think. They learned not to desire and want in this world, because that would put them in this world. They wanted to touch God. They wanted to know God. They wanted to know them, the highest part of themselves they could. So they turned their attention away from those things that are limited and put their attention on those things that are unlimited. In other words, they quit playing in the finite worlds and started enjoying the infinite worlds. Very incredible stuff, and easy to understand to look at this. So herbs also have a mind and emotions to them. We've talked about that here, talking about plants in the Christopher Bird and Tompkins Secret Life of Plants, brought a lot of that out for you. Been a lot of studies. Remember we talked about the lady on the news the other night that said that that we're going to start using plants in airports, because her plants can detect all types of chemicals, and they're 100% accurate, where dogs are only 70 or 80% accurate. For the average person, that's like, woo-hoo, woo-woo. That is life. That is awareness. That's consciousness. Life is ongoing and breathing. You can't see anything that's not living. It's just nothing dead. And you can't kill anything, because that means you would have to destroy atoms. And then what do you have behind the atom? Pure consciousness. So you didn't destroy anything there either. So it's just amazing when you really look at the whole picture of life in that. Now, my point here is that brain and nerve and upper circulation, my friend, will do you very well at what you're trying to achieve. Okay? At the same time, help accelerate getting rid of these unwanteds up in the head area. Get on your lips, clean out your bowels. Now, you're physically doing a physical approach. From a higher approach, you're working with the now. You are going beyond your mind and thought patterns, because as soon as you start looking at your thought patterns, you're trapped by them. Unless you can stay totally detached and observe them, you're back into the mind again, and you have to be careful pulling yourself back in. That's why in psychiatry there's never a remedy. Of course, there's no causative issues addressed either. Same type of thing, all medical thinking. So we know that the endocrine glands are tied to all that, so you get your endocrine glands up. The reason you clean your bowels, you pick up the pituitary, the pineal, that's your third eye, that's your spiritual vision. All these things are tied into cleaning and restoring, and it reflects on all levels. Pretty cool stuff. How's our time? So go that way, my friend. And you are a found soul, dear one. You found yourselves. That's the key. And then what's this? Somebody wants to do a big surgery for your mom. Oh, you have a friend with leukemia. Leukemia is one of the, I say this, one of the easier cancers for a person to rectify, but keep in mind most leukemias are lymphatically induced. So there you always work on the lymph system. I don't care what blood disorder it is, you've got to work on the lymph system because that's your trigger. That's your sewage backing up into the blood. Just like that, why they have dialysis, that they just don't get it. You got to clean the spleen, clean the liver, every other thing that connects to the blood as well. Let me see. This is Mark and Tasha. Hey guys, how are you? Or Regina, I mean. Thanks, guys. Thank you. You guys are good people. We have said not to give anything to a I've said not to give anything to a hyper condition, and that it must first be detoxed. I have hypo thyroid found by iridologists. Well, here's the thing. If an iridologist said you have hyper and hypothyroidism, I probably wouldn't listen to them, to be honest with you, unless that person was very, very, very learned and had some medical background and knew what hypo was. Determination of markings in the eye is not going to tell you hyper or hypothyroid. I'm sorry. You can really see that in your symptomology. That's for sure. Hyperthyroid yields a higher fast rate, yields higher body temperatures, that sort of thing. Jitteriness, and that can also be hyperadrenals. Hyperthyroid, generally, if you have a stagnant lymph, you start getting goiters. Things like that can happen from that. Even in a hyper state, I wouldn't touch it. If you did actually medically have a hypo state, I still wouldn't touch it, because you run the risk of having your heart taking off 1,000,000 miles an hour. I wouldn't touch that at all. And again, this could be up to the pituitary that's causing this too. It could be the pituitary turning it on and off. So again, this is something that an iridologist should have said, hey, that transverse bowel, I see a pituitary problem. I'd be looking at that relationship as well. That is enlarged, so I am assuming that I should be not be taking kelp. Yeah, if your thyroid is enlarged, you might be able to get away with a little kelp, but boy, I would keep that minimal, and I would really detox until that swelling is all gone. That's all lymph. Get that moving. Now clean your GI tract real aggressively here. Clean up your gut. Get your kidneys and adrenals on. That'll come down, and once that's down, probably will be in a hypo state. All right, then we can kick it up and move it on. By cleaning this lymph out, it'll also help to get it kicked up, because lymph is suppressive at a certain point. Lymph acidosis can be hypo. Acids can stimulate or deteriorate. In the long run, always deterioration. Always hypo, death is the end result of acidosis. In earlier stages of pHs, though, you can see hyperactivity with those. So, but in hyper states, you just, in my opinion, you don't want to give anything. Been there, done that too many times, and I just don't do it anymore. It's not even worth it. It's worth taking time and getting this lymph moving, and you're going to correct all that problem doing that anyway. I have taken it in the past and it made me feel awful. Then don't take it. Don't take it at all. Due to not being able to take kelp, if that is indeed the case, that leaves me unable to take both the adrenal and endocrine formulas. Yeah, unfortunately. So what I'd probably do is then go to glandulars. I'd switch around to an adrenal glandular and stuff and use the glandulars for a while, or use licorice for the adrenals, or parsley. Get around away from kelp. I love the seaweeds, that's why I use them, but that's true with the hyperactivity of the thyroid. You might want to be careful. If you tried kelp before and felt awful, then I'd probably avoid it for sure. I have tried some adrenal glandulars. Oh, I should keep reading, right? But they seem to really like the wind out of my cells. And I'd probably leave everything alone and just go all raw. Definitely go after the kidneys to see. Also, will I still be able to get the kidney? Well, that's you'll have to see. But I just need to go all raw. Go after the kidneys at least. See if you can handle parsley. Dandelion greens are probably out at this time. See if you can handle licorice if your blood pressure is real low. Just see if you can muscle test yourself first. You don't have to ingest it. Muscle test yourself. And see what you can get by with an adrenal formula. Maybe someone makes an adrenal formula out there that doesn't have the kelp or something in it. Also, I was wondering what your thoughts are on inversion and even sleeping at a slight inversion. I like inversion at times. I think it's important to do that. Stretches out the spine, moves blood to the head more. I like inversions. David Wolf talks about how inversion helps the adrenals. I don't know about that, but it definitely helps move blood in the head more aggressively. It helps to stretch the spine out and give a break to the spine too, which is really nice. And I love you guys too. It's definitely like inversions. You know, we should be swinging from the trees, you know, to a certain extent. Now, this is an individual that did a 3-week juice fast this summer in August. However, I didn't know the power of fruits then, so I had maybe 2 cups of fruit juice out of the 8 or so cups. Anyway, she went vegetables. Slowly fell off the wagon for a bit, but anyway, I just found Dr. Moore's info and loved it. Oh, thanks a lot. However, I just found out that I'm expected 6.5 weeks. Would I detox to quickly for the developing baby if I had mainly fruits? Well, I don't think mainly fruits would create an abortion issue. Not at all. I don't see that. I don't think any herbs that we use, but of the ones we suspect that could have that problem would be the lymphatics. Only because they're so strong and they're astringent in nature, and a lot of fruits are astringent, so I'd probably stay in the subacid categories and the sweet categories. Slowly detox, but I would definitely go into my adrenals since you're pregnant. Go into the adrenals. Make sure my fingernails and everything is good, because you want a good parathyroid. If not, pick up your parathyroid. That way, you're not going to get that postpartum depression. Your baby's going to have a good skeletal and connective tissue and nerve system, and at the same time, you're going to maintain yours. Keep those adrenals up, because one of the biggest problems we're seeing in the babies is flatlining on the adrenals and kidneys. Remember, we were talking about this just a few videos ago, how babies are now turning blue and losing and then just stop breathing. And we're getting these calls a lot more here lately than ever before. Well, that's totally out of the league of the medical profession. They just don't get it. And we get it because we've been watching genetic downhill slide for years. So that's what I would do. I would definitely bring up my glands. I'd definitely get my kidneys in order. The food will be good enough to move lymph, and I think you'll be in good shape. You could also power up with the God's Blend superfood. I'd probably do that too, to tell you the truth, and you have a real strong baby. Whatever your lymph system is, though, dear ones, probably going to be the baby's. But that's why you build up the adrenals right now, you build up your kidneys right now, and you'll be doing the same in the infant. This one is D-U-S-A-N, Dusan. Medic. Hello, Dr. Morse. My name is Dusan. I'm 20 years old from Canada. I got to say that I started watching your videos not too long ago, thanks to my friend. He sent me to a link to watch the great... Oh, thanks. Well, I had a few questions, okay? I read that if you have a low-protein diet... And that reminds me... somebody had asked me some questions here, and I thought that it was a list that you ought to hear about. And now, what did I do with them? But I wanted to go over them with you because there were so many good questions in that one. Oh well, we'll find them. I read that if you have a low-protein diet, that we can lose hair. Now, this might be it. I read that if you have a low-protein diet, that we can lose hair. Is that true? So I hope that answers your question. Also, because you were talking about only fruit and how fruits have light amino acid structure and veggies have heavy amino acid structure and build muscle. If you're working out and you want to build good muscle and you want to be... and you can't quite, I mean, for the average person, I'm going to say this, because I can tell you, up in the high fruitarian levels, the strength is phenomenal, the agility, the power comes in from ways that you can't even describe. Well, there's a certain point at this level you can get to that the power of spirit, or whatever you want to call it, comes into you roaring like a waterfall down a 200-foot cliff. I mean, it's unreal to get to those levels. It just really is. That's why sometimes you have to back down. It's too strong. The average person has no clue to what that even means. So, with that said, if you're a bodybuilder, you're a trainer, you want to work out, keep a nice body, make sure you fix malabsorption, get your body cleaned out. Now, I was talking about this lady on a 50-day melon fast. She does not have malabsorption. Her body's beautiful. She kept her body. She's not excessively thin, and she's been on this for a year. So I'm just saying that it is about malabsorption, the determination of how thin you go. Fix that and start building your body up. I would pump God's Blend, which is a superfood blend, God's Garden. Has everything in it, something like that. I'd pump that. I'd pump alfalfa, definitely. But I'd definitely keep my fruits and stuff to keep my kidneys good. Proteins, got to get away from that concept of protein. That's a medical concept, and the protein has done nothing but hurt humans, so not help them. If you go back, take a look at protein diets, it has done nothing but hurt us, not help us. So there's nothing you can say that can change that. That's just all factual stuff. I've got a medical doctor, just can't get away from proteins, but I get all these cancer clients because he's sent them way out there. Now he doesn't even mess with them anymore. You just got to be careful. You can't do it. We're not about nitrogen. We're about carbon. What kind of supplements would you recommend, if any, for a bodybuilder like Guy? Asking because I have been working out for 7 years. Pump a lot of alfalfa juice. Get like the superfood blend. Got everything in there, and the cats meow. And make sure your kidneys are filtering again, moving your lymph system, because as you create acidosis from all your activity and working out, you've got to be able to remove them. It doesn't matter what level you want to build up, but you still got to be able to move your systemic acids. If you can't, you're just, even in a raw food, you're going to get to a certain point and you're still going to have some serious joint problems coming, because you've got to remove the acids you create. It's that simple. And that's a kidney and adrenal issue. With that said, once that's up, then your nervous system will be up, and then you just tear into this and build some good muscle. You want to have a clean body, and you'll have some of the strongest muscles anyone's ever seen. That's the best way to do this. You can pump the avocados and things like this. Someone was talking about David Wolf, and this is a buddy of his. Remember that book? But raw foods, that's the thing. But there is, don't feel bad, you bodybuilders out there, because there is a point where you're going to see a little breakdown. You've got to realize that you have to take the body through a window of detox to get on the other side to Wellville. Once you establish that, the sky is the friggin' limit. We don't even know how far out there a human can get. We really don't. Some of us have been out there and had to come back. And so that's just some of the things. So you can get it out there as far as you want to go, but you got to fix some of your issues first. And then pop them on, man. You can get as big as you want. But again, do you want to put that much attention toward a physical body? And you want to keep your spirituality intact. You want to keep that ego intact and everything else. Because right now, the ego is way out there on this planet. And we got to rein that baby in. Also, people have told me that we have to eat meat because of the B12. And here's that B12 crap again. I can tell you, you can go back and forth the B12 thing. You have those that say it's fruits and vegetables. Now, B12 to me is a cofactor. It isn't an actual vitamin that you get in foods. It is a byproduct of metabolism. So, that again, I don't even play in that world. I don't even go there because it's not even worth it. My client, I see tons and tons of blood work here. And when you're detoxing on a good diet, your adrenals are working and metabolizing properly, your B12s will be proper. I want to do the master cleanse that you were talking about. I want to use grapes and lemon juice. Those two are really good. And do the cleanse for 20 to 40 days. So I just wanted to ask if you would please explain in more detail what really happens to the body and how do organs react when they only get nutrients from grapes and lemons. How would that cleanse our body, like our liver, kidneys, lymph nodes, and blood? Well, honey, I think this is a man. Honey, all I can tell you is that it's easy to understand, and we've talked a great deal about that in these videos. The astringent properties in these fruits are the key to moving lymph. They're astringent, and astringents draw and pull. Just take a big suck on a lemon, and you'll feel astringent on your mucosa. You'll feel it pulling and sucking on that mucosa. As far as nutrients, where are you going to get better nutrients outside of the fruits, berries, and melons, and where are you going to get it? You can get it in your greens a little bit, but you notice you have to use a lot of them. And so, you know, and of course, your flavonoids, your vitamin C's, B's, everything is the highest in fruits, berries, and melons. Where are you going to get better nutrition? So that's the issue. Cleaning the body is first opening a closed door. The closed door, kidneys and adrenals. People don't understand that, but the adrenals turn on the kidneys through neurotransmitters and probably other ways. Maybe the sodium-potassium balance makes a big difference in the kidneys as well. So all this is important to be able to have kidney filtration. Kidney filtration is essential to have health, because not removing cellular acids is why the medical doctors use the word diseases. Acidosis and the lymph system is the key component of what medical doctors refer to as diseases, and why they're lost. They don't focus on that system. And that system is the key to it all. So you just have to learn that and go through these videos, my friend, and read all that up. Your nutrition is, you got plenty there. It's the astringent power in the fruits that you're looking for, and vegetables don't have the astringent power. That's why you notice all of you guys that have been doing this quite aggressively found the plateau of the vegetables I've been talking about. And you just need to strap on the robe, my friend, and start wearing it. Go down this road. How do you know when are we starting to move lymph? And these questions I thought was important to read to everyone too on this, because we have a lot of new subscribers all the time. First, you definitely want to get a mason jar and pee in it. For the men, they can kind of look in the toilet and see their urine when it starts to get thickened. They can see the urine heading toward the bottom of the toilet. When you pee in the toilet, you're peeing into water. Your urine should be robust with chemistry. You'll see that urine settling toward the bottom. Now, if you pee in a jar, we want to see, remember, the dandruffy, white-looking stuff in there, mucus in the urine. You want to see white sediment. You want to have a whitish tone to your urine. You do not want clear, like this tea. You don't want to see clear urine. That means you're not filtering. And so this is one way you can tell. If you have a tumor, it's easy to tell you're filtering. How? The tumor's going down. Swollen lymph nodes, oh, they're going down. You're filtering. My pain is going away. You're filtering. My swelling is going down. You're filtering. Now, what are the best supplement or foods that we help with focus and concentration? I just started going to the university, so I could really use the kind of help. Fruits, berries, and melons, man. I've been talking about this all along. Power to the brain. Use upper circuit, brain, and nerve while you're in school. You're going to really appreciate that when it comes to test day. Let me tell you, we've had a lot of testimonials using upper circulation and brain and nerve too. Ho, 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 ho. During tests, let me tell you, you just seem to know. It's a pretty cool stuff. But fruits, berries, and melons are brain foods. That's how I regenerate brain lesions. That's how you see that MS lady walking. That's how we've been able to get all our MS people up walking. This is how we're able to regenerate. So real important, fruits, berries, and melons. Everything you're asking me is related to fruits, berries, and melons, man. Thank you for the questions, too. These are good questions and really important. I felt everybody needed to hear them again. I wanted to say thank you for tuning in. I really do. I appreciate that. Stay with us, my friend. Get your health together. Work it out and build those muscles. But clean out your body first. Just what you're doing here. Clean that out. You'll be in good shape. I like your idea on the Master Cleanse with lemons and grapes. We had, I told you, a famous model go grapes and lemons. No more bone or lung cancer left. That's her testimony, not ours. FDA. Okay. Now, will lemon juice only be better than water fasting for fat loss? Not necessarily. Not for fat loss. I don't see that. You know, either way is going to take it out of you. Raw foods is going to take it out of you. But to tell you the truth, if you're not water fasted and you really haven't detoxed enough, I suggest we're at the level of toxicity, I think, that you can safely say you need to detox on foods for a while before you enter the realm of just water. Just water fasting early on in your health, your walk to Wellville, it probably isn't smart nowadays. I think what's smart is to do for those that are really way out there on the sad American diet or whatever diet around the world, they're all about the same in their own ways. You can move from that into an 80% raw, 20% cooked. The 20% cooked should be only steamed vegetables or so. With out of the 80% raw, at least 60 should be fruits. Move that to all raw, then you could do like 70%, 75% fruits, 25% vegetables. After a while, you want to drop the vegetables and be 100% fruits, berries, and melons. After that, then you could go into water fasting, but I would definitely spend 2 or 3 or 4 months detoxing, get my kidneys filtering, because having your kidneys filtering in a water fast would be key essential, or you're not going to enjoy your water fast a lot. Just depends, can be real shaking on you. So I would do the lemon juice and grapes first before I would go any deeper with that. It was better when vids were like 15 minutes. Oh. This wasn't a real happy person who can watch the whatever ding dong from over an hour. I'm sorry about that, printer. You didn't like them. I had no choice. So sorry if I put that in the dumper, but I really, we're doing our best. It's free, so I'm doing our best, Hello, Morris. Could you please explain more in terms of meal frequency? Do you prefer eating mini meals a day, 6+, or is 1 to 3 big meals okay? Could also go in detail why you prefer one over another. Well, this is Superhuman 991. Oh, Superhuman. Well, that's it, simple. When you're looking, let's say I'm your digestive tract. And I'm your pancreas, and I'm in there, and you've got all this food coming at me. It's like, holy crap, I got an army coming at me. Oh, man. All right, boys, get ready. We got to pick it up, Or, oh, look, we don't have that much good. We can digest this real easy and send it on down. You realize that all foods have their own digestive needs, own digestive energies, own digestive time. Everything is uniquely individual. There isn't any two things the same. Isn't that the beautiful? It's cool stuff. So you have to realize the simpler you eat, the healthier you'll be. I can tell you that you feel, once you get over this and the body goes, then when you step up into a mono diet, there's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. It is energetic, it is empowering, and then the whole concept of nutrition starts falling apart because you feel the best. I've told you this many times. I feel the best that I ever have in my entire world when I was strictly oranges and mono eating. The digestion is easy, quick. The body isn't confused, because you'll notice this. Those of you that are very spiritual and sensitive, notice that the more varieties or the more different foods you have at a meal, the more confused you can get up here. Because you're introducing into your auric field, into your energetic field, your energy field, you're inviting all these different levels of energy. So those that have very sensitive emotional and mental states, get it down to a very simple diet. Eat smaller meals more often makes more sense. When you're at the fruit and berry and melon level, to tell you the truth, this is simple digestion from day one. It's always smarter, and if you understand energy and the fact that the body uses energy management, then if most of your energy is in digestion, you will have none or very little for healing and detoxification. That's why you notice how you get tired when you start detoxifying. Yes, it's an adrenal issue. Yes, you're off of neurotransmitters out of the meat, off the stimulants of the proteins. They're all stimulants. You're off of all that, and you feel a little tired until you build up your adrenals. And then that energy comes roaring in. Outside of that, when you start getting up into these higher levels, the energy is phenomenal. All the concepts that man has at these lower levels of nutrition just fall apart and disintegrate. So, and that's part of the problem. Man does not have a clue what health really is. You guys are tasting it. Cool. Cool. Oh, this is a nice comment. Sandy Boston, thank you, my dear. Who knows the, thanks so much, dear. She's a 53-year-old who spent the last 3.5 weeks on raw. I am finding it has helped with my stiffness and pain, one symptom many that no doctor has been able to diagnose and or help. Well, you know when you feel stiff and tight, that's lymph, that's acidosis. After a while, pain will start accompanying that stiffness and tightness. And then, of course, if it's in the back, you start to lose calcium out of the vertebrae because their body's fighting acids. And then you start to go, and your vertebrae start popping out, herniates, compresses, blah, 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 blah. And that's all about acidosis and kidney and adrenals. And you fix that and you're going good there, dear. I heard your explanation for acid buildup as an explanation for one of the first symptoms I had as a 17-year-old. Now, this girl's had problems since she was 17 years old. That's a sad thing to me, that you can't even be happy and have fun in your youth because you don't feel good. And that's not right. So we really are needed out there, and I hope every one of you that has a mind to help others come aboard and join us helping this world to get well. We have a lot of work to do. This was a burning. See, and when you have a burning, guess what? Now, alkalis will burn, no question. I'll tell you that. High alkali. Either side of the pH scale, the higher you get or the lower you get, the more burning you're going to experience, no question. Just try some hydrogen peroxide to know about a burn. So you can't burn yourself on either side. Balance, key to all things. However, I do take people way out of balance sometimes on the high raw, but we have to get to some of these levels. But you know, we bring you back into balance. And she was getting numbness in the shoulder blade. Well, that's what happens. That stiffness starts to suppress nerve function, particularly nerve function first because it's closer to the lymph. When you start breaking down blood flow, not so good. The lymph and nerve is deeper. It left only to return again with a third Hep B shot. Oh, man. Man. What are you doing with Hep B shots? Oh, crap. I've had children go into convulsions, blindness, all kinds of things with the Hep B shots. When I was 31-year-old mom of three, man, pain and mind fog became worse. Look at that. Wondered about reading Dark Brown Eyes. I haven't seen you interpret any like mine. Well, we need to see yours. Bring your eyes in, dear one. Send them in. We'll interpret them. Can you read them? My white blood cell count has consistently been at 4.8 for the past 8 years. Also, I know I have renal problems, cyst found several years ago. Well, again, you know, are we all surprised about kidney and adrenal problems? No, we're not. This is where a big problem we're facing, and for some reason medicals are not looking at it. Let me see. Oh, her creatinine has been at 6.6. Now, I like that. Well, that 6.6, you must be out of country, right? Because here it would be 0.6. Can a person like me safely use extra herbs to treat the lymph and deal with my frequent hot flashes? Well, absolutely. Are you kidding? What you want to do with your hot flashes is pick up your thyroid and pituitary. That's for sure. I tried the female reproductive formula for the hot flashes. That'll reach to the pituitary. If that doesn't stop them, also pick up the thyroid. Check your basal temperatures for thyroid function, because always when you see hot flashes, the thyroid's involved. Fix that, go up with that, and detox your lymph system. Go right after this, Sandy. Tear it apart. Don't be afraid of herbs and diet. Tear it apart. Oh, this is a good one. Excuse me. This is Gary. Hey, Gary, I got acne when I went on all fruit diet detox. Now, why would someone get acne? Did he contract acne? Can you catch acne? No, you can't, can you? You're creating that. Now, what is acne? Where is that coming from? Down underneath, right? Underneath the skin. The skin has, what, 3 layers? Epidermis, dermis, and what do we got here? We've got the subcutaneous. So what we have here is a lymph toxicity, don't we? Absolutely. And he started the detox. Now what this tells you, Gary, is that your kidneys aren't filtering and your skin is your friend. Unfortunately, it probably doesn't look good or feel good. And it isn't really that good for the skin either. But it is your doorway out. And that's the problem. You've got to fix your kidneys and adrenals, my friend, and then start getting those filtering, and this acne will clear right up and off you go. But it won't clear up until you move. And what you did is you just started trying to move that lymph. The kidneys weren't opening, and the skin says, I'll do it for you. 4 months later, it had went from bad to painfully bad, no end in sight, was just getting worse and worse, so I stopped eating so much fruit and my skin got clear. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you probably have to take the burden off of that, but you've got to get on the herbs for the kidneys and adrenals and fix that problem. And this brings up a good thing here with Gary, is that if you don't do the herbs and you just do the fruit, it's going to be a long time. That's what I learned, so that's why I created them. Because not the herbs, but the formulas. Because that's it. That's the problem, especially in these cases. So if you're seeing problems like this, where you're on this high fruit diet and this stuff keeps going, you can back down like Gary did and slow this whole process of detox down. But also get on those kidneys and adrenals and get yourself filtering. Check the urine for the sediment. Once that happens, you're sure this is going to go down. Now, I have something else to when you see acne there, your lymph nodes are swollen. We see that consistently in the eyes. So that's another issue you have to deal with. But that goes back to the lymph system again and just why you have acne in the first place. So you're really going back and fixing this. But remember, sometimes just diet alone just isn't enough in these deeper issue problems. And with people today, kidney and adrenals are very serious. It's a very serious problem out there. Eating lots of fruits make my skin break out, just like drinking lots of milk. Oh, but a different reason. Sorry, Doc, but until my body was trouble with fruit. No, that's okay. No, that's okay. Back down off of that's okay. It's the insulin spikes caused by these sugars that causes breaks out. Well, you'll get it, my friend. You'll get it. Same with me. I get acne from fruits, but also from cooked potatoes. Potatoes aren't detoxifying. It's the sugar. It's not the sugar that causes acne, guys. You're missing the point there, and that has nothing to do with the sugar at all. But they are astringent, and the astringents do open up doors. They start pulling and doing, and when the kidneys aren't filtering, the skin is going to be the one. Your skin's your third kidney. It's not the sugars. Either feeding microbes or just needing to be. I'm going to go back to feeding because this is an interesting comment. A lot of people think that because they don't understand the fungus family. Candida, moles, fungus, things like this. And again, I'll go back to this one simple understanding. Take a handful of grapes, put them on your kitchen counter, put a piece of bread and a piece of cheese. Which one of those three, grapes, bread, or cheese, grow fungus on them, grow mold on them first? Which one? Actually, two of them will. Cheese and bread. It's going to be a race between the two. Which one grows mold first? Why? Fungal family is fermentation family. You need the fungal family in nature to deal with the fermentation of carbohydrates, as you need bacteria to deal with the breakdown of proteins. You need these people to do this job for us. The problem isn't the sugars and things. The problem is with your body. The problem is with your adrenal glands and sugar metabolism. Also with the nature of this, if you have sulfur in there, sulfur just makes things a whole lot worse. So you have to understand more causative factors to this and not blame the sugars and the fruits. God made bad foods, can't have sugars. That's not true at all because vegetables are sugars. You have to understand if you call fruit a sugar, you got to call vegetables a sugar because these are all carbohydrates. Some more powerful, some more energetic, but they're for different species. Different carbohydrates for different species. Vegetables are for herbivores, fruits are for frugivores. Which one are we? Not difficult to find that out if you compare the internal workings, the physiology, in other words, or the anatomy of both species. Not difficult to observe the two differences. It's we that have the problems, and we have to fix these kidney and adrenals and get that taken care of. You need fungus. That's essential. We're just used to eating starches. You can't start and look at your life today and say, this is what's going on. You must start your life in the physical world back when you were in your mother. This is when toxicity begins. This is when your genetics are formulated. This is all when it starts, and that's where it does start. So you have to look from that point, all the vaccinations, all the shots, all the crap, the antibiotics medical doctors gives us, crap, all that through the years, what you've been breathing, what country, where you've been around, what toxicity, what have you been putting on your skin through the years? Are you working with a lot of coal tar products or especially mechanics, these poor guys and all these petrochemicals? Where have you been for all these years to determine your level of toxicity? And it's overwhelming. You're on a very toxic planet. So you've got all that to consider when you're making some of the statements and blaming the foods. Now, the foods are aggressive. There's no question about it. If you have to step back, that's no sin. There's nothing wrong with having to step back away from the fruit. We teach balance here. So there's nothing wrong with stepping back, but Someday you got to go on. So when you're stepping back a little bit, fix the problem. Go into the adrenals, get adrenal glandular, get the adrenal forming, get the kidneys, get yourself filtered. Start moving your lymph systems to get this to clear up, because this is all just lymphatics. Yeah, do you have fungus and bacteria in this? Heck yeah, of course. That's nature. Systemic problems. These are microbes. They're not involved in hurting you. They're involved in the sewage. Remember, it's about the terrain / culturing medium. That's what it's about. It's not about the little creatures that God made to take care of us. It's about the culturing medium we prepared. It's about the dinner. It's the dinner table. And we're offering up a dinner table. We're used to eating all these complex carbohydrates, which is called starch, and we have weak adrenal glands, can't metabolize that level of starch. You're going to have fermentation. It's just going to be a natural process. My skin looks great on mostly vegetables and nuts and maybe one piece of fruit before each meal. And I spent lots of time on adrenal herbs and some of the pancreas as well. Get in your kidneys. Make sure you're filtering. I just don't metabolize sugars well at all. Well, if you're eating vegetables, you're metabolizing sugars, dear. That's all I can tell you. If you're a Canadian war dog, man, if you're metabolizing, but it is the magnetics and the astringents in the fruit. They're powerful. That's why. Don't make no mistake. Fruits, berries, and melons are extremely powerful. The most powerful foods on the planet. Those that don't believe that, here's a good example. But you have to understand that your problem is lymphatic, not with sugar metabolism. Well, I'll say it is with sugar metabolism. It's the adrenals too. So yeah. Now here's one I'm going to have to cut off here in a minute. Are non-GM soy lecithin granules worth taking? Still all the way up to plastic almost. You still have to process soy all the way up to, you look at lecithin, you look at margarine, and you look at plastic, and they're all within a few molecules of each other. Okay, there's so much more that I want to go over here, so I really need to get this up so you guys can see it. So thank you so much. Sorry I had to go a little fast to get this out to you, but I know a lot of you are suffering. And I think it's important to understand with all this acne and skin problems, we see this a lot. And in here, when we start on the detox kit, some people that have the subcutaneous levels of toxicity, their skin can explode when it looked beautiful at first. The thing is cleaning that area without having that happen is very difficult, because you have to go slow, you have to open up the kidneys and adrenals, and that's okay for someone that has that time. We have a lot of clients that just don't have that kind of time. They're dying, they're living in the world of the cancer worlds and stuff, and there's no time to play that game on them. So for you guys that have the time, slow up a little bit, but focus on the kidneys and adrenals. Make sure you're filtering. But with the kidneys and adrenals, always take the 2. You want to add a lymphatic. Do at least the 3. I like the Fab 4, the endocrine glands, but at least the 3, which the adrenals can be part of that. It can be the endocrine glands, but you want to really open up your glands, open up your kidneys, get them to filter, and those lymph nodes and subcutaneous areas of the skin can break open, and you can clean all that out. And then you'll clear up just as beautiful as you can please. Any scarring will go away. In fact, a lady we were talking to this morning that had all the female pain, she had scar tissue down there from the medical profession, and it all went away. And that's the thing, scar tissue, and I said this before, can eat itself up. You've got to get your body alkaline. You've got to get this interstitial fluid moving and filtering and breathing. You got to get your body breathing again with the movement of fluids, appropriate movement of fluids, and the appropriate filtration of these fluids. And so you guys are doing wonderful, and I really appreciate every one of you, and thank all of you new people for coming aboard. This is a fantastic journey into the world of wellness. There's a lot of misconceptions out there, and I just hope that I can help set a lot of them straight for you. I've been around a long time doing this in levels that you're unaware of. So just remember that you'll get there. And you just keep yourself focused and absorb into the allness of all of life. Let the higher power work with you too. And always know that you're the central core of your beingness, and you should always look to yourself and love yourself as you love everyone else. because you're all beautiful to me, and I'll help every one of you get yourself well. All right, well, see you all, and watch your dreams now. Watch your dreams. Bye-bye.